Hey, Daryl, thanks for joining us.
Communicational systems as a freedom of Australia. The dependent control for your call together as designated relay station. All of the stations, please do not transmit unless invited by network area control or if you have a book to the clock.
All right, gang, please take your seats and let's begin. We have a lot to get through tonight. And thank you all for being here in person and on Zoom. Remember, when you're here in person, you get a ticket to win a Nano VNA, a tiny spectrum analyzer, a handheld radio, or coax. Coax seems to be the most popular all the time. All right. Hey, Alan, we started. Oh, you can tell, yeah. We're having a pop quiz. All right. So here's the order of business. We'll do regular club reports. We'll run through those. Then we have John Litz, the Pacific Director, who's also running to be Pacific Director for ARRL. Thank you for joining us, John. And then we'll get into the main presentation. We'll start with Bob Mix. He's going to talk about building things. Yay, Bob. Thank you. And then we're going to have a very, very competitive homebrew contest. This looks like the most competitive I've ever seen. So I'm really impressed. And all of this beats the year I won when I showed you my shack on my stand-up, sit-down desk, which I recommend to all of you. We all sit too much. Kishore just stood up. Did everybody sign in? And did everybody get a ticket from Gert? And did you buy more tickets? Okay. That is the important part. All right. Well, why don't we start? Sylvia is not here. Do you want to do the treasurer's report first? But we're going to run through. Sylvia and Tom are traveling, but she sent us a quick report. Not much has changed. This is for the month ending August 25th. And we have 125 active members. We have 63 expiring members. Some of those are actually expiring members, and most of those are members who just haven't paid their dues yet. So if you haven't paid they're only 9 months late, and we're going to send Phil out for collection, I think. Okay, next slide. Sylvia did some cleanup on the life memberships and things. And what's that? Oh, Neil's asking anybody need to sign in. Maybe Rick does. Rick's coming in. Okay. And our current budget is about $9,000. That's where we stand. We use that money for repeater repairs. It's about half and half, and we also use it to pay for field day and other events. I just talked to Bob N6PGQ, who will probably announce the special event station next Tuesday in the State Capitol Park to commemorate the 175th year of California's admission to the United States. And most important to me, I see Sylvia put a note, sorry, James, some family stuff happened right before I left town, and I didn't get the check mailed. All right, this is for when I buy the prizes for the giveaway. I get reimbursed. Okay, is there anything else? Is that the end? That's all right. Any questions about Sylvia's report? Now Carol will do all of her reports.
Okay, yeah, this is Alfredy Newham, WN1ECCH. Actually, he was featured on a cover of 73 magazine back in the 1970s, and he's our mascot for Homebrew Night. Uh, and there we go. Yeah, we start off just a little reminder of something important, September in radio history. Sorry, seems to be not sure why it's blocking off the bottom part of that. Anyway, yeah, Hiram Percy Maxim. A lot of new hams, I'm sure, probably not aware of who that is. The original W1AW, the old man who was, he was born on September 2nd. Today is his birthday, 1869 in Brooklyn, New York. He was one of the co-founders of the American Radio Relay League. And he was a businessman, a radio pioneer, and inventor in the Hartford area. And we probably wouldn't have amateur radio the way we have it today if it weren't for him. He co-founded the American Radio League in 1914. And of course, that was right around the start of World War I. And at the time of World War I, the U.S. Navy decided to take over all of the radio frequencies and shut out amateur radio completely. Now, when the World War I ended, U.S. Navy didn't want to give up those frequencies. So Hiram Percy Maxim was very instrumental leading lobbying efforts in Washington, D.C. to get amateur radio reinstated. And so we have to be really thankful for the work that he did, leading the the American Radio Relay League in lobbying for the reestablishment of amateur radio. And he passed away in 1936 in La Junta, Colorado. So also a reminder to check your September QST. Excellent articles in this issue. I'm not going to go through all of the details there, but the cover story is how you can repair your own amateur radio equipment with some basic test equipment. And it's a really great article. I recommend you check it out. A reminder also that our website is n6na.org, and we try to keep this updated with all the latest information about the club and also the ongoing amateur radio events in the community. Some coming club events here. We have September 9th is actually the California Statehood 175th anniversary special event. That's going to be over there at Capitol Park near the corner of 15th and N Street. And Bob, N6PGQ is here. Do you need to say anything more about that particularly? Bob, we'll get you a microphone because Bob is leading that off. That's his baby.
Well, we are meeting, if you can, at 7 o'clock in the morning at 15th and N Street in the Capitol Park at the Cactus grounds. And fortunately, we went there and there's a sign saying that you can't enter the cactus area. So obviously we'll be under trees and in the shade. Needs some help setting up and needs lots of help breaking down. So we have the park from 7 in the morning until 9 at night, but we're not going to work after dark. So we'll probably break down, I'm guessing, you know, if people are talking to us on the air, somewhere around 5:30 so that the state workers will be gone. And if you come and park and help us break down, that you will find a parking place on the street right at 15th and N. So everyone is welcome. Since it is a park, will also be a POTA activation. So if you ever wanted to do a POTA activation or a special event activation, come join us. And please talk to me if you're planning on coming, so I know you're going to be there.
Thanks a lot, Bob. The actually, they're using the reactivating the special event call sign Kilo 6 Charlie, K6C. And if you want any more information about that, you can go to the QRZ.com webpage for K6C, and it's got links to a brand new page that Jay Ballinger, N6SAC, set up, which is going to be doing the automatic QSL cards like we did for the state fair. So that's, I'm very thankful to Jay Ballinger for doing that and
Yes.
contributing that way. That same day, September 9th, is also our first Nano VNA workshop. It's going to be right here in this same location here at the Congregation Beth Shalom. And that's going to start at 7 p.m. And it goes to from 7 to 9 on both days. We have a full complement of 16 people that have signed up for it. The 16th one just signed on yesterday. So we're looking forward to that. And Phil Sittner, our Nano VNA guru, is going to be conducting that. And I'm sure it's going to be very enjoyable. Both of those Tuesday nights, the 9th and the 16th. September 13th, there's going to be a ham swap over at Reno in the parking lot of Cabela's. Anybody wants to drive up the mountain there and get into Reno, that's usually, it's a short activity. It goes from about 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. And on the 20th, of course, which is the next Saturday after that, we have the Western Placer Amateur Radio Club's Ham Fest at McBean Park, Lincoln, California. And make sure that you stop by and visit the ARRL booth there as well. On the 23rd September, we do have our next board meeting. There is no, we're not going to have a club breakfast on the 20th, which is where we normally have the one on Madison Avenue. And that's because it conflicts with the Ham Fest in Lincoln. So there won't be a club breakfast then, but we will have our other breakfast at the Brookfields on Folsom Boulevard the following Saturday, that's September 27th. And just keep in mind that October 4th is going to be Rockland Maker Fair. And the ARRL Sacramento Valley section is going to be sponsoring an exhibit there for amateur radio. We're looking for participation of any and all amateur radio clubs here in the section to participate in that, because that is a great public outreach as well. And that starts at 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. and it's going to be located at the campus of Sierra College over there in Rockland. October 7th is going to be our next meeting. It's going to be our White Elephant Night. And then, of course, Pacificon Convention, the 12th to 11th to, sorry, the 10th to the 12th at the Marriott San Ramon, California. And you can register for that online now at pacificon.org. It's going to go on. Just mentioning again the 175th anniversary. Bob already talked about this. And those, again, are the workshops. And that's very highly in demand, and it's a great service that we perform. There's a Lincoln Ham Fest, just a reminder about it. There are links to all of this on our website, n6na.org. Contest for September, the 7th to the 8th is the 10C QSO party. The 13th and 14th is ARRL EME, that's the Moon Bounce contest, and the September VHF contest. And the 20th to the 21st, we have the ARRL 10 gigahertz and up contest, and then the Iowa, New Hampshire, New Jersey, and Texas QSO parties. And September 27th to 28th is the main QSO party, and the CQWW, I'm sorry, that's the CQ, not CW, Worldwide DX Contest Radio Teletype. A reminder that our nets are every Wednesday night, and so we have nets tomorrow. 8 p.m. is our 2-meter net, followed at 8:30 by a 10-meter net on 28.420 upper sideband, and then we do our slow scan television net at 9 p.m. And remember also our Saturday afternoon roundtable net on 7181 lower sideband. That's at 3 p.m. on Saturdays. This is just some statistics on our check-ins for August nets, and you can see they're very well attended, so they're going strong. And we're always open for new net control operators who want to participate, and it's a great way to develop your operating skills that are useful in emergency preparedness as well. And if you're interested, please send us an email to contact@n6na.org. September 17th is going to be our backup repeater net. This is always the third Wednesday of the month, just to make sure that you have your the same repeater pair. For our main repeater, just has a different PL tone 123.0. And that's working better since they did the upgrade on the antennas there. It's really working quite well. Website activity report for the month of August. We had a total of 1,114 page views. And the peak web page views were on August 20th, which was 121. That was the actual day that we put up the announcement of the Nano VNA classes. So that drew a lot of traffic to the website, people interested in that. The most visited web pages were the homepage, then followed by the repeater page, then our DIY radio and Nano VNA class page. Another project page was the Tunitin S project, and then the About Us page. Most of our hits are coming from search engines, 63.2%. That includes things like Bing and Google, and then the direct hits, dan6na.org, are 34%, and the rest are through other sources as well. Most of our hits come from the United States, 1,086. And social media-wise, we now have 617 subscribers on our YouTube channel. That's gone up. We had 1,065 views, and the main video that has been watched for this, I think this is like the seventh month in a row, is from our January meeting where we did an introduction to the QRP Labs QMX transceiver. It's just so popular. It's #1 straight all the way. And the other in following order was several of our SSTV net videos. You know, we have over 200 videos of slow scan TV nets. That's been going on that long, and they get some pretty consistent views. On Facebook, we have now 1,173 followers. On our page, our group has 124 members. Our Twitter page has 164 followers, and our Discord chat now has 50 members. And again, if you want to contact anybody here at the River City ARRCS, you can send an email to contact@n6na.org, and we will be sure to get it back to you. And thank you so much, and that's be the end of this report.
Thank you, Carol. You put so much effort into those every month, and we all appreciate it. Thank you. Any questions for Carol about her report? I'm not surprised we had higher hits when the Nano VNA workshop was announced. So I know you're very modest, but you're very popular. Okay, well now I'd like to introduce, yes. Phil's asking if Carol ever sleeps.
I'm working on that.
Yes.
Working my sleep.
Yeah, that's a fair question. Any questions from online? All right. Well, I want to introduce John Litz over here, who drove up from Stockton to see us tonight. He is the Pacific Division Director for the ARRL. So he's going to give us a brief update on ARRL activities and remind us that there is an election coming up for the Pacific Director. Carol, as you know, was recently appointed the Vice Director for the Pacific Division for the AARL, and that left an opening for Section Manager. So Carol is no longer Section Manager. Now it's Jay Ballinger, November 6 Sierra Alpha Charlie, who also is running Sac County areas. And until I get fired, I'm still an assistant section manager and an affiliated club coordinator. Is that right? Yeah, so I haven't been fired yet. It could happen though. All right, so let me introduce John. John, thank you so much for coming up and hanging out with us.
Thanks, James, for having me. Welcome. Thank you, everybody, for letting me take a few minutes in the club. And thank you, Dr. Carol. I just wanted to take a couple minutes. Okay, this is really hard for me with one arm, so pretend I'm covering my badge. Okay, because I am running for the position of Pacific Division Director. That election is going to open up here toward the end of the month. I brought some information about me and my ham radio history and some of my ideas, and I'm open to questions at the end of the meeting. But I won't take up any questions now because I want you all to get to your meeting, but I'll be around for the whole meeting. So if you want to ask me something about ARRL and the board and what have you, I'm here. Well, let's talk a little bit about ARRL and the board and amateur radio. Already, Carol did a great job mentioning PacificCon. That's going to be in a few weeks. Saturday, September the 13th, I think it is. There's a town hall meeting. It's on the division website, pacific.arrl.org. You all should be getting Like if you're an ARRL member, you should be getting an email invite here in the next day. Hopefully you all got the invite for Pacificon that went out over the weekend. If you didn't, and you're an ARRL member, let me know and I'll figure out why not. But that's another opportunity to talk about what are we doing going forward. So in the July meeting, the board put behind us the whole governance issues that have been kind of plaguing the board since before I even got on the board, by passing finally bylaw 46, and then turned immediately our focus to more things amateur radio. So if you hadn't seen the Trident Award, if you chase DX, or you're just getting into HF, the Trident Award is a great opportunity to expand chasing DX. It's not for the #1 honor roll guys, really sorry, because you already have 303 different modes most likely, but it's kind of like the triple play award in worked all states. It's really designed for the rest of us to get out there and get on the air and fill in the gaps on things to put up a nice award in our shack. 10-band DXCC was passed by the board, so that's coming. That's everything but 60 meters in 10-band DXCC. And coming soon, a lot of work was done on next year's Year of the Clubs, which is going to be a great event for all of you as a club to get energized, get on the air more. You guys already do a lot of that with the special events, but sadly, not all the clubs do that. So the goal there is to energize more clubs, get people working clubs, get people more activated in clubs, and have a great event throughout 2026. So that's the other thing that's coming soon. There are some minor stuff, but that's kind of the big major stuff for 2026 to look forward to. Look for more decisions on more activities, membership, more good information coming out of ARRL when we get back for the January meeting. Carol, for sure. I'm really hopeful you all vote for me, and I can go too. Thank you all very much.
Thank you, John. The question I will have for you is, how do we get younger folks into the hobby? Not that you guys are old. So think about that. And I know it's an issue, so we'll talk about that. But why don't we? You did. Okay, good. So now, thank you very much. And why don't we go to Bob Mix, who, are you ready, Bob?
Are we,
You are. Are you ready for Bob's presentation?
I'm sorry, are we going to do introductions? Introductions.
Oh, do you want to do, well, I was trying to save time.
Oh, we'll skip the introductions.
Let's skip introductions. I was going to do that closer to a break if we took a break. Is that okay? Come on, Bob. I'm going to give you the microphone and step out of the way. Look straight into that camera.
I'm sitting at a computer, aren't I?
He's sitting at a computer.
If you want, there's this one here.
I'll talk first and then I'll go over.
Okay.
What's that about? That's me? What's her? Oh, okay.
I'll turn it off.
I'm Bob Mix. I was born at the end of World War II and grew up in the Cold War. Radio then was high technology. What?
Second. Yeah. But right. Well, we might have lost some sound here, Carol. This one's now. Testing.
Okay, let's see what's going on.
Uh-oh, we lost our sound.
Sorry. Okay, there you go. A little oxidation.
A little what is it, D5 deoxit? That's
Yeah,
it.
deoxy will work.
Hello. Okay. I was born at the end of World War II and grew up in the Cold War. Radio then was high technology. I built a crystal radio, and my antenna was a wire wrapped around the eaves of my family house. Later, I built an Allied Night Kit shortwave radio and listened to Voice of America, Radio Moscow, and the BBC. To me, a ham was meat I loved to eat. I knew nothing about ham radio operators. Half the cost of a radio then was the power supply that made those tubes glow in the dark. Later, I read in Popular Mechanics magazine an article about transistors, magical devices that would power radios in the future from batteries, and we could go portable. Anyway, when I saw a one transistor circuit diagram, I had to build it. Saving for 5 weeks, I bought the parts at local stores. Radio Shack at that time was mail order only. They didn't have stores. Anyway, one transistor cost me more than $2 in 1957. Now I pay only 2 cents for a transistor. The receiver worked, and I was hooked for life. I'm still hooked, yeah. I'm still alive, too. When solar cells became cheap, I bought one the size of a finger to power that keep it simple, stupid receiver. So the question is, what is homebrewing? I don't like that term for radios because of my homebrewing project. I bought a book entitled Homebrewing and bought equipment and supplies to produce expensive but very bad beer. That was it. I was in my 40s at that point. It wasn't in 57, but anyway. I prefer the DIY acronym for do-it-yourself radios. Radio circuits can be built many ways. Kits come cost more but have benefits such as detailed instructions and foolproof success. But with little learning, basically. However, builders do gain confidence to turn on a soldering iron or build things. Anyway, difficult DIY projects start from just a circuit diagram with part values on them, and you must find the parts and connect them so that the circuit works. Even harder if you have surface mount devices. Ordering parts can be difficult too, especially if some parts are obsolete. At Pacificon, we will build a version of the NorCal 40 transceiver with substitute parts because there are many parts or several parts in that rig. I built a couple of them that aren't available anymore. Anyway, I'm looking forward to that next month. So you get there on Friday, you can get a kit and you put like 2 hours into it and get it together because there's a whole bunch of surface mount parts on it. So you have to wind toroids and a few other little things. Anyway, next page. Radios can be made with simple parts, simple circuits, and simple skills. My model is keep it simple, stupid. In 2019, I created the DIY radio group at groups.io to encourage DIY radio building. Last year, I held 5 DIY sessions to assemble 3 breadboarded circuits, an LED flasher, code practice oscillator, and a Pixie transceiver. 8 builders signed up, 5 succeeded with all 3 circuits, 3 dropped out before the Pixie assembly. I was disappointed that progress was so slow, that it took 5 sessions to get that far. Breadboarded circuits are a tad temporary. They tend to stop working if they get bumped. And wires tend to short together when you put it in a box, things like that. So a soldered circuit is better, and you can hang it on your family room wall when you're done. So I decided to redo the class by simplifying assembly and requiring soldering for permanence. Designing a printed circuit board can take 100 of Phil's hours. He can tell you about how he had more hair before he designed some of those boards. Alternatively, a strip board works for most circuits. So I'll show you what a strip board looks like. This is a strip board. It has like 34 columns and 19 rows, or no, 34 rows and 19 columns for 646 holes in there. So you can plug 300 and some parts in this little board. And most circuits work on these little strip boards. You don't have to design a printed circuit board. So that's the plan, is to put some circuits together on a strip board. Today I offer an improved solder the stripper class to solder 3 circuits: LED flasher, code practice oscillator, and a transmitter. Gypsy Rose Lee did not take this class, but she did star in the movie. You may build 1, 2, or all 3 circuits. A beginner would start with the flasher, and others may skip the flasher. The code practice oscillator serves as a side tone for transmitted CW. And what I know about CW is that CW is water closet spelled backwards. So now I'm going to pass around this little rig that I'm talking about people building. So straight on, what does that mean? Like that? Okay. All 3 circuits are on that one board. Okay, that's flying around the room. Now I've got a bunch of videos and photos and so on that I'll go to the computer to show those. I guess they'll show up on the screen here. So, is it ready for me? Okay. Oh, I didn't want that on there. I wanted to go to the images, yeah. Yeah. You got that up, so that's a good sign. Okay. Oh. Okay. Yeah. Okay. But double click, it should pop up, right? Oh. Oh, okay. I'm plugged in, but it isn't. Okay. You can kill that, yeah. Should minimize it, I guess. Okay. Okay. In the class last year, we put circuits together on a breadboard. This is the kind of breadboard that we used. The top half of the breadboard is for one circuit and the bottom half is for another circuit. The top half has the code practice oscillator and the bottom half has the LED flasher. As you see it here, the batteries at the top are wired to the bottom circuit, the LED flasher. And this is just a photograph, so it's not a video. You don't see the lights flashing, but they alternate red and green about once a second. So I don't think I need, okay, yeah. And this is a jack up here. You can plug a headphone in, you can hear the code practice oscillator. It's wired to fire constantly here for testing purposes. So anyway, and here it is the same 2 circuits soldered into a strip board, along with 2 jacks. the jack on the right is for the Morse code key. The jack on the left is for the headphones. So, oh, that's it. And then the third circuit for this new class is a transmitter. And here I am testing that transmitter in a breadboard to my oscilloscope. And you can see this is the signal for the transmitter when it's transmitting. It's wired to constantly transmit for testing. And then once this stripper is totally soldered up with the 3 circuits on it, then you got to test it or operate it, use it. And the black connector back here goes to the Morse code key in the foreground. The white plug goes to these earbuds here that Delta Airlines gave me for free after buying a $1,000 ticket. And then there's a BNC for the antenna. Is the third jack on this board. Yeah. And I have plugged into it what's called a dummy load. If you don't plug a dummy load into the antenna jack and then you hit the Morse code key here, you can burn out your transistor. So, and that would make you a dummy. So anyway, this is the setup for testing it or operating it. And before you actually transmit, you may want to see that the oscillator in the transmitter is working. It's a crystal controlled transmitter or oscillator in the transmitter. And so I put the antenna onto my tiny SA spectrum analyzer, and you can see the signal here that the oscillator is transmitting a few millivolts out of the dummy load. It only puts out about 10 millivolts, but it shows up just great on the tiny SA. You know that your circuit's working. So and this one is the oscillator hooked up to the oscilloscope. And you can see the signal of the oscillator. And it looks big because I didn't have it scaled down. And then this is when I'm actually hitting the key to transmit, and the transmitted signal is on the screen here, and it is scaled down. So anyway, and then here I am transmitting with an amplified a battery powered speaker attached to it. I have no idea. I never took a class, I don't know. And I tried for weeks to get CW planted in my head, and I finally decided that ain't going to work with my brain. So I gave it up. I've never had a QSO with anybody in my life, but yeah, CW QSO, yeah. So that was it, and I guess you could hear it in the room here. Without the amplified speaker, I can hear it. I've also got one of those, but I thought it would be best to plug that in to make it loud enough so people could hear it. We couldn't, I guess, make it louder on this thing, but I think that was good enough. And then here I am putting out RF. So I'll go back to the beginning here. Okay, this Belka doesn't seem to want to blow it up. This is an HF receiver called the Belka. I bought it from a guy or a company in Belarus, next door to Ukraine and Russia. Anyway, and then I plugged the amplified speaker into the Belka so that you could hear it when and so you're not hearing the side tone, you're hearing the transmitted signal to the HF here. You're also hearing a hum, which I think is probably the oscillator being received by the Belka, but I'll do it again here. Anyway, I think that's the last one I have, yeah. What? Come again? Okay, I think that's it. I don't know if I have anything else to say here. I probably do. I usually do have a lot more to say. Okay, so you saw the demos, the photos. The class will cost $5. That's without tariffs. I have no idea what tariffs will do. And I have a sign-up sheet for the class. And builders will have to supply a 9-volt battery and solder, maybe a soldering iron, or you can share mine. If a builder has never soldered before, either Elmer or I will tutor you. And the main thing to learn is it matters which end of the iron you hold. A circuit that doesn't work is an opportunity to learn debugging, which is an important life skill. The parts in this little strip board are a total of about 33 with 3 jacks. The flasher uses 10, the code practice oscillator uses 8, and then I put an amplifier on the code practice oscillator to make it loud in the earphone. And that's 5 more parts, and then the transmitter takes 10 parts. So, are there any questions? Knock everything over. I've done things like clumsy things like that before. Any questions? Nobody? Sign up sheets over here. I'll put it on a table somewhere.
When and where is the class again?
Well, I have to find a place to have a class too, right? So I don't know if it could be here, but
It could be here.
yeah,
Yeah.
maybe next month
Yeah, we just have to,
after Pacificon, maybe.
okay. But you want everybody, those who are interested, this is an interest sheet.
Yeah, there's
Okay.
a sign up sheet I have here.
And the cost for the kit and all the materials you think is probably less than $10?
$5. $5 should be good. Yeah.
Well, I
I only use cheap parts, you know.
I,
I'm a cheap guy. I grew up poor. Yeah.
This thing that's going on with tariffs and the fact a number of manufacturers are not shipping to the US if the order is over $100, which is going to cause some real problems.
Well,
You won't have $100 worth of parts in this thing, but I mean, that's going to be a real issue for us.
I'm thinking it'll work. If people sign up now and you swear that you're going to come and give me $5 or give the club $5, then
Well,
I can do it for
Phil's right, we
$5, I'm
should-
sure.
or $7 maybe, you should price it out. So for those who don't know what the de minimis rule was, it was that things under about $850 in value being imported into the United States from a lot of countries anywhere were not subject to excise tax, to tariffs. And as of the other day, they are. Now they limited to 100. They dropped it to 100. So
Well,
might add
There-
50% cost.
There are no fancy parts in here, you know. So I don't think it'll be a problem.
So what I can't get in my head is how you can create a circuit board without creating a circuit board, just using that unit. So I should sign up for your class.
Yeah, it'll come clear to you. You've got what it takes. Yeah.
Yeah. And I have a soldering iron. Bob, very much. Thanks
Okay,
for putting that together. And I think that's exciting. So where's the sign up sheet? You just, okay, so please sign up if you're interested. Once we know how many people want to come, then we'll find the appropriate room or space. What I'd like to do is take a 5-minute break, and then we will get to the contest, to the competition about the meat of the meeting, the homebrew competition. So 5-minute, quick break, refreshments on the table, mingle, say hello to each other, and we'll come back at 7:50, 7:52.
Wow, yeah. I usually have an assistant to help with this, but she just woke up just before the start of the meeting. Sorry, I can't make it today. So I got juggled it up. And it's, well, it's working. It's working. I just want to, I've got three different presentations. Oh, there's another presentation. That's right. There's another presentation I have to get. Anyway, let me do that now. No, you didn't mess me up at all. Which is your flash drive? This one? Yeah, I got it recorded on here. There we go. Here. Which one is it?
This guy, yeah.
All right,
Thank you.
thank you. I'm
Thanks
glad it
much.
worked. Glad it works.
Yeah. And the sound worked, yeah. Good. Wait. Yeah.
Okay, got that. Your presentation is just a text. Yeah, let me bring that up. Oh, okay. Now, let me see if I can find it. Yeah, I copied that. That's triple. That's the one? No. Okay, yeah. Flag presentation? No. Let me drink this. See, I got too many things open. Yeah. There's myself, Phil, and Bob. 3D printing. Yeah. So this is it, but this is not it. What you have is on here. Okay, that's the thing. It's,
There was a 3D printing thing on, and then there's one that we added that's his thing.
so you want to see the image.
It's just the image, no text.
Okay, Greenland guest?
Huh? No, Greenland, that's mine. That's my,
This is your,
that's
Yeah,
my
that
friend.
could be ours, or unless he still has it.
Just have my presentation.
Okay,
Let me
now-
know, I'll
now-
keep it. You let me know what order you want.
yeah, give it to me then, please, because he probably has it.
I gotta go.
Just Greenland, they just, they did a time lapse photography of going into fjords and then Greenland, you know,
Uh-huh.
that's what it was.
Are we gonna show the Greenland thing?
No,
No.
no, you go ahead and, the other one is the flag presentation.
Uh-huh.
Did you copy both?
Hold on. I just copied the flag presentation.
That's all I need.
Yeah.
Let me know when you're ready. It's only 10 slides. Should be very soon.
You got it? Okay. Yeah. Okay, one picture on here,
Yeah,
this one, that one?
that, yeah. Because he wants it, if it comes up on the screen, he wants it to be able to be big.
Oh, okay.
That, because otherwise, on the nice little device.
Okay, we can make it big,
You can do that.
like that.
Yeah, so it's up there, say, it shows these parameters.
Okay,
That makes sense.
yes. So I'll just copy this to the desktop. There. Then I'll close this, and then I'll open up off the desktop, and then I can now,
The stuff that was already on there, the previous, that I did understand. But I don't think remembering that, I think he directed me to put it on there, and it's not project today.
oh, yeah, yeah, we're all, sometimes happen, you know. Okay. Yeah, nice and big, big, big. So who's gonna talk first? That's what I'd like to know. I think on the list here, I have you as first, that's.
Well, that'll make it easy, because it's on me.
Carol, are we ready?
Yeah. The presentation
Okay. All right.
Yeah. The presentations that we have on the list here, Hank Thompson, K6HUH, we have Bill Shocknesse, N6HA, Dave Larson, KO6FSG, Neil, Gimenes, KL7HQR, and I know Phil Sittner, KD6RM, he's one of the judges, so he's not, but he wants to show off his project. Do we have anybody else that was going to do a presentation? No? Okay, I guess we got the whole listing there. Good, so can we start with Hank?
Well, we have the camera here, so so Hank and Gert, if you could work in this area, we can also focus the camera down here, if you want. Yes. Right here. Did you 3D print that? And you said it won't blow up. Okay. All right. So just so everybody knows, there's a lot at stake here. And the judges are Bob, who just gave a presentation, Phil, and Carol.
Yes, and you know what the prizes are?
I know what the prizes are, but why don't you tell our audience?
Okay, we have 3 prizes we're going to be giving today. There's a first place, which the prize is going to be a 2-year membership to the River City ARCs. Second place will be 1-year member. It's a gift certificate, which you can transfer to anyone that you wish, if you wish. And for our rookie entry, there's also a gift certificate for 2-year membership. So.
These need to be signed by the president.
Mhm.
Okay, I'll do that.
We have pens.
I'll do that while you guys are presenting. Introduce yourselves.
Okay, I'm Gert, Kilo 6 Zulu Golf Alpha, and my other half is, okay, Kilo 6 Hotel Uniform Hotel, Hank. And he does a lot of 3D printing. I'm sure some of you people have seen some of the other things that he's come in with. But as it applies to ham, there are a lot of times when you need either a project box or something to contain or facilitate the use of meters, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And so that's what he's up to. How about if I let him read? How about if I let him?
Okay. So I do a lot of 3D printing, and I was wondering how much power I'm actually using, because the 3D printers have heaters built into them. So there's
I'm going to rephrase this so that it
lot of
makes
money
sense
that's
for
used.
all of the contestants. There's 2 things we really want to know from you before you start. The purpose of your project, what
Okay.
you intend to do.
I'm getting there.
I know, but I'm telling this for all the competitors.
Okay.
And the other thing that we wish to know is when you were licensed, so we can figure out who is the rookie in the crowd. So purpose and year first licensed.
Okay. The purpose is so that I could monitor how much power I'm actually using for my 3D printers. But anything that runs off of 120 volts AC can be plugged into this. It does handle a lot of current. And I don't know if you can see the display or not, but you can't. All right, you can see voltage, amperage, watts, frequency, kilowatt hours, and power factor. So there's a lot of different things that you can look at.
It remembers it. So if the power goes off, it remembers it. It's got memory.
It does have a memory built into it. So accumulated data, you're not going to lose if the power goes off. You can reset it back to 0 and start over again if you want. So anyway, I found this module online on Amazon and built the 3D box here to hold it and the outlet and the power cord on the bottom of it. Very simple, but it's a handy device to have. And as I said, you can plug anything into it that runs off 110 volts.
Are there any questions from people out there online or anybody here in the room? Yeah.
Yeah, I have a question. Did you come up with some power, some electrical power usage that you use on your typical 3D printing? What is the result? For a typical 3D printing job, did you come up with a power evaluation, how much power you use?
I think you're saying for any given job, have you kept track specifically and you know, how much would a typical job?
Yes. Its measuring accuracy is 1%. The voltage covers 80 volts to 300 volts. Current covers 0 to 99 amps. Active power 0 to, let's see, 30,000 watts, 30 kilowatts. Minimum resolution. Oh, there's a bunch of figures on here. I probably should have put this on the screen, but I didn't think. It will handle frequency from 45 hertz to 65 hertz, and it updates 2 times a second. The only thing I found that this does not work well with is generators, motor generators, because some of them don't have a pure sine wave. They have a modified sine wave, and this does not like modified sine wave. But
But Hank, you mentioned that it also measures power factor. It does not measure power quality? Probably not. Okay, you've answered the question. Power factors are typically like 0.1, 0.2, 0.8, 0.91. So it's standard measurement.
Power factor, your power factor is just measuring the voltage amp phase. That's all you're doing is measuring the phase difference between the current and the voltage.
Apparently it displays it if you know how to look at it. There's a lot of information, probably.
Your VA, you got your power factor, your voltage amp, you got, what else do you need? You get the wattage.
We have so much information. Well, they say too much information? Okay, so.
the important thing for me anyway was the fact that it kept track of wattage used and kilowatt hours used for a given project. That's why I built the thing to begin with. And the, this was a different case that I built. This is for 220 volt outlet rather than 110. Okay. So that was my DIY project. Would we like
Actually, I did have one question. Is there any way to pull that data out, like to a computer via serial line or something like that?
I'm not sure. I think it's just a matter of that you might want to just take a picture of it and plug it in yourself. It's not a direct read out to an external device. I'm working on it.
I'm next.
I was,
Oh, okay. Do you want to announce me? Okay. Oh, that's my project.
are you considering, creating kits or at least the case, plus parts on how to make one of these in the future?
Are you asking if he can make another one for other people? It's possible to do that, yes. So if somebody's particularly interested in the box that fits that module, he could produce another case that you could use to have a display for your own use. Oh, do it as a set? Is that what you're asking? He's asking if not just making the box, but if we could kit together that setup so that we could make it available for other people. And be a matter of ordering the module and fitting it into the box so you could use it in your own shop. I suppose it's possible.
Next is Bill N6HA.
Yep, I am Bill, November 6 Hotel Alpha. I will leave it there for now. I have a slideshow.
That was very cool. Thanks, Gert and Hank.
So some of you might remember me from my presentation on satellites. This is just an extension
I
of
remember.
that.
I'm still studying that.
Yep, yeah. It's quite the Bible of satellite usage and things like that. So yeah, I worked on a little project to kind of, oh, there's a clicker. Okay, thank you. So I worked on a Homebrew satellite station. Includes a rotor, an antenna, phasing harness, and some cool stuff. So I'll show you in the presentation, and then at the end we'll do a demo. It's right there if you want to stare at it while I talk. It's not that impressive. It's mostly made of wood. So there it is, a Homebrew satellite station by me, Bill, November 6 Hotel Alpha. Let me see if this works. Which button do I push? I'm too fast. Okay. 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 The objective. So the objective is to learn more about. Oh, we went too far. Okay. Oh, sure. There you go. So the objective, we're going to learn more about antennas. We're going to do some phasing experiments because I've never really done phasing for antennas before. I know Phil's a master at that. We're going to adapt some old gear that's just lying around that wouldn't be used otherwise and save some money. And hopefully have fun doing it. It was a little fun. I had a lot of fun. So we go to the next one. Oh, there you go. So the typical satellite station is very expensive. So this is what most people go out and buy. They get the M squared Leo pack, and you get the Yaesu rotator, that's the thing in the middle, and you get something to control it all, that's the SAT controller. If you see my presentation, these things might look familiar to you, but the price tag I didn't actually say. So as of today, if you bought this all from DX Engineering and various sources, you're looking at, $1,700+. So let's save some money. So the first thing we're going to do is build antenna. So that's an arrow antenna on the left there. And by the power of buying two of them, you can actually combine them together to make a cross-polarized Yagi. So I bought two. I had one already, and I bought another one used. So that's my friend there, K6TIN. We made a little jig, and we drill pressed out some more holes on one of the booms to make it a cross-polarized Yagi for 70 centimeters. So that's what I'm holding up there is the Christmas tree-looking thing that's two antennas on one boom. And that way I could do right-hand circular polarization on satellites. So then now you have two antennas on one boom. How do you connect to both of them and make it work? So the next step is to Hopefully it comes up, is to make a phasing harness. So that's how you actually connect two antennas. You usually have to make a phasing harness or use a diplexer. So there's a nice diagram of a phasing harness to connect with a delay so you could get the right hand polarization. So where it branches off into the Y there, that's actually 75 ohm coax on either end. And then there's another little stub for the delay. That's it's a quarter wave at 50 ohms. So I defined some 75 ohm coax, which a lot of people just have TV antennas, but I was being lazy and I didn't want to make the connectors. So I found this hunk of coax at Goodwill for $2. I plugged it into my Nano VNA and it was all over the place because it wasn't 50 ohms. So I figured I might be able to use this for my phasing harness. So how do I test this coax to make sure I know what it is? There's nothing on it to know what it was. So the first thing I wanted to do is verify that was actually 75 ohms. So the way I did that is this is part of the other test also. So I have a signal generator that's connected to that T connector on my oscilloscope. That's the black wire going in. And on the right-hand side is the hunk of coax just plugged into the T connector with nothing on the end. And I'm injecting a square wave into that hunk of coax. And just from the properties of having it open at the end, you can actually see the reflected power. So that little thing right here, this little bump is the travel time of the signal through the coax, bouncing from the end and coming back, and then popping up to full power. And then the same thing here. So that's the travel time through the coax. If you put a load at the end, it actually doesn't bounce back because it's getting absorbed. So create a little 75 ohm load there, plugged it at the end of the coax. That's this picture here. You see the little, because it's happy now. It's kind of like doing an SWR, TDR. Oh, I didn't know what it's called. Oh, time different domain reflection. Okay. I also tested this eventually with my Nano VNA using, I did the load open short with a 75 ohm load. It fixed it. I was actually to be able to test the coax. So the next thing I needed to figure out was the velocity factor of this piece of coax, because it's really important with the phasing harness, you need quarter wave sections. So I need to know how long a quarter wave section actually is. So I measured it using my oscilloscope, like I mentioned, that's the delay, is that little tiny section there. So I zoomed in and I measured it. It ended up being 130 nanoseconds. So cut in half, that's the one-time travel, the electrical length of the full length of my coax. So you take that electrical length, do a little math, and it's a ratio between the electrical length and the physical length of the coax. And that's the velocity factor. Yeah. So it's ended up being 70%. So I used that in my calculations to cut the coax into the phasing harness. So there's the little pieces. I was doing it, the test. I made a phasing harness to 70 centimeters and 2 meters. The 70 centimeter one was a lot harder. It's hard to measure things. So this is me cutting it and soldering it all together. So you can kind of see the two pieces of gray coax. That's their 75 ohm stuff. And there's a little delay line with that RG. I think it's 316. And then I put a PL connector on the end just because I was lazy. I didn't want to make a connector. And then it turns out you could test all this on your Nano VNA. I didn't have to pull out my oscilloscope and a signal generator. There's a feature where you could do, you could find the length of a coax with your Nano VNA, but it assumes the velocity factor. So I just set the velocity factor to 100%, so there's no delay. I just cut it to the electrical length I needed, which in this case was 517 millimeters, and just snip, 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 and I was done. I should have done that in the first place, but it was nice to see it. So now I have a phasing harness. I connect that to my actual antennas. I need a rotator to make it spin. I have these Allegiant rotators. They're just like TV rotators. So if you just, it's nice about it, the boom goes straight through. So if you rotate it on the side, that could be your elevation. The other one's azimuth. So just, there's me back again at T's house using his bandsaw to cut up things and drill it together to get the two together. So then you need to control it. So there's an antenna, a rotator controller. There's a lot of options. The K1NG is a nice option if you have just an Arduino-based thing. All those need USB. It's not wireless or anything like that. So I wanted to use the ESP32, which is Bluetooth and Wi-Fi. So that's what I did. So I used the ESP32 with a relay board and this LSM303 sensor to be able to figure out where I'm pointing the actual Yagi, and wrote some code with the Arduino IDE and the Arduino Studio, and made it work all over Bluetooth so you could control it with all kinds of devices. You don't have to have it plugged in with USB, which is kind of the restriction with a lot of these other controllers, which is annoying. I wanted to be able to put it and not have to plug things into it. So then I can control it with Bluetooth. So I can do it manually with that app there that's called Serial Bluetooth Terminator. And Look4Sat actually has a feature where you could do a Bluetooth. And it'll just start sending azimuth and elevation to things. The other option is a DDE plugin for SAT PC32. That's a little more complicated, and then there it is all put together. There's the 70 centimeter Yagi on the foreground, and the background is a 2 meter. Both have a phasing harness and coax. I'm controlling it with that rotator over Bluetooth. And I was working RS44 earlier today, hearing myself on the downlink. So works pretty good. So let me show you guys real quick it in action. Hopefully it works. If it doesn't, oh well. So this is it. So I'm going to connect to it with my phone using Bluetooth. If it lets me, let's see. Oh, there it goes. So I'm going to set it to 0, 0, which is north, 0 elevation. So there it goes. And it does its thing. And then I can set it to maybe 40 degrees azimuth with 90 degrees elevation. So it points straight up 40 degrees that way. And you can imagine it being sent these commands over Bluetooth or whatever you want to be able to actually work the satellite. I didn't bring all the Yagis because it's just too much. This was already a lot to fit in my car. Yep. So that's it. Any questions?
How long did it take you to complete this project?
I've been working on it for a year on and off. I have a 2-year-old,
It's
so
very impressive.
thanks. It's been a yeah, it's been a long process. I've been having fun playing with it. And I actually switched out the relay board with this octocoupler. That's someone, there's an Australian school that uses that to really help make this actually work. With the relay board, the Arduino is crashing. So keep that in mind if you want to make this yourself. Bill? So the question is, can I leave it out in the weather? Sort of. So the box it's in is weatherproof, so I'm not worried about that. This elevator isn't meant to be in this position. This is the normal position. So the control box is right here. So it might not survive the weather. I was thinking about putting like a little dome on it just to protect it, but most likely you're going to get water in there. That's why I used the older one that I got for $10 from Hamfest on top. And this was a new in box I bought from the same Hamfest for a lot more. Yeah, I put it in my backyard near my pool, and just yeah, when that's true. I could make the wife hold the umbrella, or the 2-year-old. She's really good at holding umbrellas briefly. I should just duct tape an umbrella to it. Let's just embrace the wooden dowel, all this stuff. So yeah, go Keisha. Yeah. So the question is what's the difference between the top and the bottom? The bottom one is the azimuth that has a piece of pipe that's on this it's just fitting here that this is drilled into. So it rotates just this top guy, and then the elevation is this boom here that's just a piece of wood that rotates the elevation for you. Good. I think this all in all, I think I'm in like $300. So a significant savings, because you know we're looking at $1,400 worth of savings potentially. Does it work as well as the L3, the M squared Leo pack and all that other stuff? Probably not, but I had fun making it. Yeah, we'll get the job done. So I did the piece. The question was why the curtain rod and not the actual piece of metal? It's because so I could actually have the Yagis in a T orientation instead of X. If it was metal, it would interfere with the elements. I had to actually, to figure out how to make a square boom mounted to a piece of something that's round that took me a while. I just did it and it worked. So it worked out fine. Any other questions? Cool. Thank you.
David, all right. Can you move it up here or do you want to present from there? Okay. Here. Take the microphone. Here, I'll turn the camera to you.
Thank you. So the purpose of this is to get a reliable connection to the repeater, but it also could be used for other frequencies as well. I got my technical license about a year ago, and at some point I'll get the general and so forth, but I kind of have a one-track mind until I get something working. Also, on that last thing, I was interested in one of the things I would like to learn a little better is when wiring gets rated at like 50 ohms or 75 ohms, I want to understand better why and how that works. I think it's an impedance thing. But anyway.
Get like close, it's straight, not over the top, but straight.
Okay.
There we go.
Yeah. So basically I went to the state fair the first day and I had my handheld Beofing with me, and I decided I wanted to walk around the grounds and try to transmit something. That didn't work too well. Also, I didn't hear much coming back to me. So first thing I thought of was maybe if I have a better antenna that I would at least be able to hear. So I got this antenna, and that did help me while I was at home. I was able to hear things, but for some reason, people couldn't hear me very well. So that partly might have been from some setting that got awry, but I think I wanted to make sure that it would work well. So I started looking at amplifiers. So the first one I got was, I wanted to save a little money, so I looked not on Amazon because they were charging too much. I looked somewhere else, and I got this one. But it turns out this one is only for UHF, so it doesn't help at all with VHF. But I could use it later. It does around 34 to 36 watts from the Beofing if I were to use it at some point. So, oh, by the way, I thought, well, if I'm going to do an amplifier, I want a nice battery. Now, this is my first battery. Turns out that I got it on Amazon. And it turns
Get
out,
closer to the microphone. We can't hear you, David. Yeah.
It turns out that shortly after that, Amazon decided to offer me a 15 amp version. So I bought that, and that's what I'm using at the moment. So that's 15 amps constant. So I wanted to regulate the power. So I got this little device called a regulator. It's usually used in a golf cart, but it's used for other things as well. And it's 13.8 volts. And that's what was recommended for this. It wanted exactly 13.8 volts when I looked online. So I got this, and it'll go take a battery that's anywhere between 8 to 40 volts and make it 13.8 volts. So it keeps it nice and constant. So I couldn't figure out what was going on. So since I didn't have an SWR meter that would work on VHF, I had to get one. And I also wanted it to show wattage, which this one does. So I hold it down and it comes on. And what happens is I saw, well, this is not working on VHF, so I can't use that. So I had to get something else. I get this Italy thing, which I have attached with Velcro. It's this one here, and I turn it on. It's being powered by the battery that's in my backpack, which is actually an over the head. It has a front and a back. You can turn it around either way. And I had to figure out how I wanted to get this to work because I didn't want it right next to me. I wanted it higher for a couple of reasons. One is I didn't want the power going to me. And I wanted it to do a better job. By the way, this is Faraday cloth. You can cut pieces of it and use it in different places if you want. I just got that today. So I hooked the Beofing up well, not through this. This is on the output of this. I hooked it to this. It's only going 2 watts because this doesn't want more than 4 watts. So I had to set it down to 2 watts. So I set it down to 2 watts. And if I press the transmitter, if it's got its settings right, it'll come back and tell me from the repeater that I've connected. And on here it says the power is currently 74.78 watts. It changes a little bit depending on 74 watts. Yeah, it'll go up to 80, especially if I don't connect this in. Yeah. Because I had a shorter way of connecting it before, but I have these extra cables on here. So that's what I've gotten to. So I got to figure out where I want to try next.
So David, just so I understand, you took a Baofeng radio.
Yes.
That's usually 4 or 5 watts max.
It's 10 watts max.
10 watts max.
But I had to set it down to 2.
And now it's
80
watts
on VHF.
on VHF.
It would be 34 to 35 watts on UHF.
All right.
Is that?
That's cool. All right. Thank you. Any questions for David?
Yeah.
Your original objective was to improve the performance of your system so you could talk to the repeaters. Do I have that correct?
That's correct.
Are you satisfied that you met that objective?
Yes, I'm satisfied. I need to figure out what I want to do next. I did get this because it was less expensive and as all bands. It does AM and SSL or whatever you call it.
Great, thank you.
Yes. I think it is. Let's see. Yeah, that's the brand name.
What's the
see it-
brand name of the antenna?
AB.
ABRE?
I think it's two B's and REE, something like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
ABRE.
I got this fiberglass rod from Home Depot, so I wanted something I can connect to a device I can wear, and it would hold it. It waves a little bit. I'm still working on that, but I could take a walk and walk my dog, and I could wear this, and it'll be connected to the radio.
Thank you, David. All right, the last official competitor is KL7HQR. KL7 High Quality Radio. Where you?
Okay, right here. All I have is some, about 10 slides, that's all. And I've been listening to all of you having this low technology stuff. So now we're going to look at a high tech thing. It's somewhat related to amateur radio, okay? And do you have the, okay. Everything started when Bob at PTQ and I, having both having our towers, we had this situation that we would like to, Bob had a beautiful American flag flying on his tower. And I wanted to put one up. And we discussed the problem is that there are some regulations on flying flags. And to fulfill Mr. Phil's need for the objective was to be compliant with federal regulations. And we'll see how we did with that. Can we go to the, and we have found out that I needed the device. And that was the name of the device. Next. Okay. Okay, so the problem was, how do I can fly a flag legally, correctly, at night in a tower? Okay, so we started investigating what we need to do. Bob and I had many discussions because being a retired Air Force, I was flying my flag at night on occasions without improperly. So we decided we need to make sure that this works okay. Next. And so we figured out what are the flags rules. So we found out that there are the 4 United States Code, Chapter 1. There are some of the rules and regulations for displaying a flag. And paragraph 6 is the one that applies. So at the time and occasion, how you should display that. And there are a few regulations. It's not a law, but it is a regulation. And subparagraph A says although it's normally we fly a flag only from sunrise to sunset, but if you want to do 24 hours a day, it has to be, quote, properly illuminated. So the K's came in, how do I illuminate a flag up on top of a tower? Next. I didn't realize the delay between slides. I would have brought fulfilling music in here. Incidentally, there are a few other interesting facts that we find that the flag should be hoisted briskly and lowered ceremoniously. The flag should not be displayed in inclement weather unless you have a special type of flag. Paragraph D, there's all kinds of days that are considered flag days. E, it should be displayed near every administration building, the government buildings, and also election days. And the next one is every schoolhouse. So it's kind of interesting facts, what we need to do. But moving on, next. The question is, how do we eliminate? Let's select a way to eliminate a flag. And the answer is, okay, we went to a place of purchasing. There are only three sources of materials that we can get things today. First one is China, second one is Costco, the third one is Amazon. So I don't care what you need, use one of those three. So we selected the proper device. The price has gone up. I did not pay that much for it. And the next, please. So it's basically a solar-powered LED lighting system, which is made to be attached to a flagpole. So the question now is, how do I attach a flagpole to my tower? Now, how do we solve this? I attempted to attach it to the side of the tower, and then, but it's a 20-foot flagpole. I have a 50-foot tower. There was still 30 feet to go, and the light was not proper. It was not strong enough. There was too much tower to go. So the next one. So what I figured that we really don't need the entire flagpole. All you need is a little piece of plastic. Okay, next. Okay, and that took, I'm talking about 3 minutes here. That took me about a month to figure this out. So what I did, I figured out that all I need really is a small piece of PVC that can hold the solar panel and the light. And that's basically all you need. Next one, and we're getting to the last two slides. So, and the advantages that we found out is that now you can hoist it up and put it right below the flag so that the limp flag does not get in, will not interfere with it or get caught. And you can hoist it up with the flag, bring it down, adjust what you want. And it's very, very simple to do. And incidentally, I found out that the lanyard that was dancing all over the place with the heavy wires ended up being very, very stable. And it is very effective. Bob has been to the house a couple of times and seen it at night. And I've seen a neighbor boy, about 5-year-old, next door to me. And he said, I see your flag. I said, well, no, yeah, I know it's there. He said, no, from the school at night, I saw it. So it was effective, okay? So the next one. And that is how the DENE-DCD device was born. It's a dark environment national emblem display compliance device. So I can comply with it. And so I tried to make a pronounceable word, but I could use a elimination device, but it was more a compliance. Anyway, so that's my entry. Thank you. Question.
Oh, there it is. Neil, I know you have a kind of a noise problem already. Did you test this device to make sure it doesn't add more noise to your environment? Right.
Just connect below the flag. You know, it's just very simple to install and uninstall. Okay, and that's it.
Good job, Neil. That's impressive. Yeah. Okay. I have to point something out, all you ham radio operators. You have to learn how to talk into a microphone. Okay? This is a directional mic. It's not an omnidirectional mic. Work out here. And we want to make sure everybody can hear everybody on Zoom and everywhere else. So line it up like this. Okay. Is Phil next?
Yes.
All right.
This is an after the fact
No,
thing.
Phil's not competing because
You know, in our lives, we have our ham radio life and we have our domestic life. And believe it or not, one of them's more important than the other. Be careful how you choose. So 50 years ago, my wife and I bought our first house. We moved into the house, brought our critters with us, got everything set up, and our world was marvelous. And then one day we go shopping and I discover somebody came out with this thing called a pet door. Now, we had a cat and we had to let the critter in and let the critter out. And I imagine many people in this room have a similar experience with a variety of pets. Am I right? So life's going pretty good. And then in the middle of the night one night, I have a cat fight in the kitchen. And we only have one cat. So obviously something's wrong. And, you know, once we got the neighbor's cat out the door, I start trying to figure out how I'm going to solve this problem. Now, problem solving is the nature of amateur radio. It's like flagpoles, and it's like getting your HT to work with what you want, talking to satellites. I mean, we got problem solving. So I'm thinking, how am I going to solve this problem? Now, everybody thinks in terms of putting a transmitter on the cat, something of that sort, and I just couldn't figure out how that was going to work. But then I got to thinking about resonance. We're all familiar with resonance, are we not? Now, I'm going to define this so that I can go into the next part of this. Resonance can be defined as the point in the spectrum where a system absorbs the most energy. That sounds pretty good, doesn't it? And in the ham radio world, we've been using a device for years called a grid dip oscillator. People with gray hair here probably remember that term. Those without gray haven't a clue. Correct? So I decided that I was going to build a cat collar that is 3¼ inches in diameter and resonant. In this case, I think it's about 2.8 megahertz. Cat collar. Let me fire up the beast here. I'll have to make an adjustment, but in any event, so what a grid dip oscillator does is it is a free running oscillator. And when you bring a resonant circuit into close proximity, you'll see that the meter dips. Some energy was lost to this other resonant circuit. And so I concocted this circuit using the ARRL handbook to research grid dip oscillators. Remember those things? ARRL handbooks? And I put that together and I got it to resonate, used an old tuning capacitor. I took some strips of plywood and I built a form around the pet door, positioned outside of the door so that I could position that coil so that when the cat came close, that sensing coil could pick it up and release the door. The door release had to be something special. So I rummaged through my old junk box and I had a pinball machine relay. Big flat clapper on it, you know. So when the clapper is up, the pet door couldn't push past it. And you pull in the relay, it pushed past it. So being the genius guy that I am, I hang out this relay. I've got this thing plugged into the wall to provide power for it. And lo and behold, it works. My wife was just absolutely thinking I'm the greatest thing since sliced bread, although she knew better. How come I'm getting that look? So I get this thing going good. Life is marvelous. The cat wants to come in. I hear the relay click. I hear the pet door swing open. I hear it swing shut. Life is wonderful. 3 months later, middle of the night, I get another cat fight in the kitchen. The issue was I hadn't had that latch correctly positioned because the other cat was able to get past it. So I repositioned it so that now the latch really works. A week later, I hear the cat come in, and then I hear a thud. The second cat hit the immovable door. And if you give me a minute, I'll show you how this thing works. This is a different circuit than what I had originally done. This uses what's called a drain coupled dual FET LC oscillator, which in turn triggers a analog comparator circuit, which in turn resets a 555 timer. And I'll set this thing up so you guys can play with it. But it really did work. This was 50 years ago. That's it.
You gonna make it run right? Oh, yeah, it responded to the caller.
So when this thing triggers, you see the light come on, turn it, it stays in for 1.5 seconds.
No, I don't. Other way. No, it's face the camera.
Face the camera.
Yeah, there.
If it's still, it stays in for 1.5 seconds, which allows enough time for the cat to get in, the latch to go back, and then it's a perfect.
You did this 50 years ago?
50.
That's a lot of cats.
We had cat 75 or 26 years old, and the other one lived to be 27. Here's the original drawing. When I did that thing, it would have been, that was about 1975. That's the original paperwork. I've even got details on how I wound the collar and figured out how much wire it took to do the sensing loop. But it worked. And I'm still married.
I have a question, Phil. Phil, I'm right here. Me, yeah. Us. So how much is the Chinese knockoff?
You know, they actually offer these things for sale.
Oh, yeah?
I saw them anywhere from like $75 to $700. Unbelievable.
Any questions for Phil? Will it kill your cat with RF exposure?
You know, the total amount of energy this uses 9 volts at 3 milliamps. There's no energy.
We have time.
What?
Were you going to present another?
No.
Who else?
No,
was
no,
gonna
no, no.
present?
Phil, about 20 years ago, I found a cat door commercially made that has a magnet that the cat wears around its neck. And that will release the latch and the door opens, and it worked fine until a resident raccoon learned to follow the cat very closely and got in with the cat and,
You have to train the raccoon?
yeah, and ate all the food.
Yeah, yeah, it's funny.
It's very
You know,
ingenious.
The beauty of this, you can have different resonant frequencies by changing the capacity.
Pick one for the cat. I mean,
Is there anything else? If you want the circuit, I can show you how to make one.
And no cats were killed in developing this project.
Except the one that hit the door. Really funny.
Okay, we have the final results of the judges. We had 3 judges, and of course, we graded all of the presentations based on if the device meets the objective, the quality of construction, originality, quality of presentation, the use of standard parts and tools, and creative repurposing of the components and inspiration. And shall we start with the rookie? Let's go ahead and start with the rookie. The rookie the winner is David Larson. Handheld amplifier. And congratulations, you get a gift certificate for 2 years membership in the River City Arcs. Congratulations to you, David. Next, we have our second place with a cumulative score here of 82. Quite good. This was Neil Gimenes, KL7HQR, or the DENE DLD. Thank you. And our first place will be with a total cumulative score of 96 is November 6 Hotel Alpha, Bill Shocknesse, Homebrew Satellite Station, 2-year gift certificate. Congratulations to you all, and thanks to everyone who participated. We just love this evening because it's quite a bit of inspiration and it gives us some great ideas. So keep working on those projects throughout the year for next year's Homebrew Night.
All right. Thank you, everybody. Yeah, keep working. I think all of you should take on year-long projects and bring them back next year. Does everybody have a ticket for the giveaway? Because we are at that point in the evening. And then for those who are interested for more questions for our ARRL Pacific Division Director, John's here. Okay. Oh, a couple of things. Sign up for Bob's, show your interest in his kit building, and see Bob, the other Bob, about the special event station at Capitol Park next Tuesday, 7 a.m. to 7 p.m.-ish, sundown, or maybe 5:30. And people can bring their own gear. Do you have the band pass filters? So okay, so there's logistics, a little bit of logistics. If people bring, we'll change the coax. Okay, fine. All right. All right. Gert, are you ready? Now, as you'll recall, for those of you who are here, there's a possibility that you're holding the winning ticket for this ICOM ICV80.
And we have those due to the generosity of Tony Lanais N60XX. Thank you so much.
And that was the prize that was picked by N6EMF last month, I think. This is a VNA, a nano VNA, which could be used in Phil's class. This is coax. Ever popular coax. That's right, Bill. And this is a tiny essay. All right. Gert, are you going to do the honors? You're having John do the picking? I think that's a good idea. Here, let's get the microphone over here. You ready?
156640.
156640. Walter?
Go, Walter.
All right, Walter.
Congratulations.
Thank you, John. All right. All right. Oh, we better verify because it's Walter. Yes. All right. Okay. All right. So what do you need, Walter? All right. The radio, the HT. That's because he's a man who has everything else. All right. Remember, next month is the White Elephant sale. And so for that, you have to be here. Bring cash and a big car.
Can you explain what is a White Elephant sale? What is it all about?
It's all about, it's like an equipment, it's like a ski swap.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
essentially you're donating unwanted equipment and the proceeds go completely to the club. It's a fundraiser. So this is for unwanted equipment of viewers related to ham radio.
Yeah, we'll run it like an auction. So you're donating whatever it is that you don't need anymore, and you donate to the club, and we'll run some version of an auction.
Mhm.
Yeah, and sometimes you can get some really good deals. A cat detector, I would start the bidding on this at $12. But I'm going to net present value for 50 years. So this is really like a $350 contraption in $25. Yeah. It's priceless. All right. So that's next month. Thank you, Carol, for reminding me. So if you look around your shack, your garage, whatever, you just never know what somebody else may need. And it helps the club. It helps fund all the things that we're going to do. I even told Bob that we'd give him a budget for the special event station next week, but he, being Bob, said, just bring a sandwich. But we could probably get something out there. Let's see how many people are interested in going out to the special event station. Okay. Oh, good. All right. Okay. Good. All right. Okay. We have a few minutes. John, do you want to come back up? And what I'm going to do is I'm going to adjourn the official part of the meeting. But if you guys have ARRL related questions about John's candidacy, what things are going off the board, now's the time. So meeting is over. Thank you all for coming. And we'll see some of you next Tuesday for the first session of the Nano VNA seminar. And some of you will see next month. So thanks.
All right. Thanks very much. So yeah, I'm here to answer questions. If you got any questions about what's going on at the league.
I am interested in what is the league doing for youth to get younger people, to get people who may not be that technical,
Right.
you know, to broaden the appeal.
So right this year, so a couple of different directions, right? This year, the education department's done like 26 teachers institutes. So, you know, that's over 100 teachers across the country. One here in Sacramento, another one over in the Bay Area that were through the course this year to bring amateur radio to the classroom as part of their STEM curriculum. So the other thing that we're looking on is, right, if anybody here a teacher, any like public school teachers, right? So, you know, everything has to fit a curriculum today, right? And so there's been a lot of work on creating curriculum for amateur radio that fits into the vast majority of school curriculums.
That's good.
Not just STEM, but, you know, across the board. So there's been a lot of work on that.
I've discussed the idea with you, and that is my visit to the Philippines.
Yep.
And one of the things, and this fits the social studies, having been a social studies teacher as well as a science teacher. I visited and I did send to John a picture that we took at the DX1 ARRL July's meeting. We also had a guest there, a young fellow who was an elementary student from New Zealand who was there with his mother. And what I found from the people I've met on my several visits is we have the opportunity to shake hands, have a eyeball QSO with people of another culture, another, all the different factors sociologically. We learn the geography. We can put all these different things in the social sciences curriculum. And that's how ham radio ties in. You may make your initial contacts on the air, but you have the opportunity to study. I visited, I found over there, it's not like us getting in the car and coming on the radio and saying, I'm mobile. They don't do that because people drive like, well, I won't talk about their driving, but I actually did more contacts using Echolink.
Yeah.
Only because I was staying in a place I couldn't get an antenna up high enough to get into the repeaters. I'd been across the street and had an antenna on the porch there, but in the house we were staying with, the other thing is you're dealing with a lot of tin shacks and a lot of metal.
Right.
But again, all these little factors that you learn when you visit, people should be getting out and visiting when they have the opportunity. This opens the door to actually meeting people and having them show you their shacks or show you different things. So I think it fits in a lot of ways into the social studies curriculum. And having taught world history, which is very boring to most people, well, because you're just looking at a map and studying it from the geographical standpoint, but you learn, and when you visit, of course, you get plenty of questions as to what's going on in wacky Washington here.
Right.
But again, this opens up that international communications as well as learning so many things about other people's.
Yeah, I think that's a great call out. I will say my son aced his freshman world geography class basically by taking Q out of my collection for every part of the world that they were studying. So, you know, hey, smart kid, right? And I think, so some of the things you mentioned, right? So when we look at the, you know, the next generation, right? HF communicating, that's a piece of it, but you mentioned Echolink, you mentioned DMR, right? And we need to do more at ARRL to like incentivize those modes to give our youth a sense of accomplishment beyond just, you know, I'm on Echolink and I talk to these guys, right? There's the youth on the air has the whole Echolink chat weekly. That's huge. But let's try to organize that into the ability to maybe earn, okay, all the DXers don't throw stuff at me, but what if a youth could earn DXCC on DMR? Just to say, hey, I worked 100 different countries on DMR. I know it's not HF and I know it's using the system, but it gives the youth something to go, wow, that's pretty cool. Maybe I should try that on an HF station. You know, where's the next piece? And the you know, the high school and younger age, the parents, we got to bring the parents with them because they're the missing generation.
Hold on, Dave. I need the steps.
And I think the collegiate amateur radio program is starting to answer some of that as young, you know, 20-something-year-olds get out of college, they've had a big exposure to amateur radio and they're wanting to stick with it.
All right, my comment here, we all know JoJo, and he's a good example of a rather typical Filipino family who's into radio.
Right.
Late Madge was an operator, and both of his daughters are. His son is learning disabled, so I don't think he will get very far with it. I participate in a net every Friday, Saturday afternoon. It's called Pinoy Link, and I was introduced by JoJo and become friends with the primary net control. But his daughter has just started college. She just got an equivalent of her general. And, but both of her brothers tried the general exam. They're both in high school, and one's in middle school. And they'll take it in the future. But families there very commonly are more than just one individual. the boy, the boy that I mentioned from New Zealand,
Mhm.
his father is Filipino, and he's a ham, but his mother, and he didn't mention, his mom has thought about becoming a ham. So we have to look at trying to encourage total families.
I agree. One of the things, the vision I have an idea to put together, right? So ARRL is this huge depository of technical and operating information, and that's great. I'd like to see us, and this is when I talk about in my little flyer about, connecting clubs to do something on the Pacific Division website to create that kind of library. Like, for instance, the Tehachapi Club won an award for their onboarding of their members.
I have a question.
Yeah, the rest of us should look at that. Go ahead.
What is the Pacific region? Does it cover Hawaii? Where does it go?
Yeah, so the Pacific Division is Hawaii and the United States protectorates out in the Pacific Ocean.
Oh,
And then Northern California down to about this side of Santa Barbara. I think San Benito counties are furthest south county. But then in the Central Valley, it goes all the way down to the Tehachapis and then over to Nevada. And then we have Nevada.
okay.
And it isn't only Hawaii, it's going a lot further west. Guam, and
Oh, yeah, that's what I
why I
meant.
suggested to John that, and I've mentioned this to Carol. So when that far across the Pacific, the Philippines is right nearby, got a lot of,
We died.
yeah,
There
oh,
you
no,
go.
we didn't.
Okay.
I held the mic wrong. Lots of ARRL members there, and they proudly wear the logo on their uniforms. And I'm hoping that I hoping to work with John, or assuming he's going to continue, be reelected. Oh, come on. Your competition has already served an awful lot at the higher levels than ARRL. It's a chance for you to bring in some new light. But we've got to look at our members that are outside of the US, where it's not terribly inconvenient for the division director, such as yourself, to stop and visit with them. They deserve some service from ARRL.
I agree. I totally agree with that. Any other questions, comments? Yeah. Oh, but okay. There's, again, I've got a little bio information and a little bit of detail on what my vision is, right? And you're welcome to take it with you. Thanks everybody for letting me speak here at the end. And thank you for having me, and what a great meeting tonight. Thank you. I don't see it, but I'll let you.
Thank you, and a very good evening to all of you.